I've made $2.8 million with my marketing agency, and I've kept clients for over 5 years. And if there's one thing I've learned, is that poor communication will break your agency. If you run a marketing agency and things are getting lost between clients and teammates, if you're using different platforms for different clients when you're communicating, if you're using email threads for updates, or if there's no single source of truth for project management, the result is clients are not going to get the level of communication they need to trust you and to trust that you're making progress. And as a result, they're very, very likely to churn. Now, the reason why I know this is because clients came to my agency from other agencies that had poor communication. It was literally what they told me on the sales call. They would say, well, we have an agency doing this. And I would ask, like, why are you, why are we on this call? Like, why are you looking to switch? And they would say, well, yeah, the results are okay. They're good. Like, we're just don't hear from these guys. Or, we want to get on a call with these guys, but they're busy. Like, I've seen this so many times. And that's why I create this video, is so that you, if you're watching this running a marketing agency, you do not have to make these same mistakes I've seen. And those other agencies, when we looked at the accounts, like, they were doing good work and they were getting results. Like, it wasn't all bad. In some cases, it was bad, but a handful of agencies that are actually doing good work. And the clients just weren't aware of the progress. So the clients had to work hard just to understand what was happening. Okay. And as a result, they felt like, wow, I'm paying these guys to do my marketing, but like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't have transparency and visibility into what's going on. And some clients, they just want that. They just want that transparency and that visibility. And I learned from their mistakes, and I built systems so that communication is not even spoken about, because it's so seamless that it just never comes up in conversation, like, oh, the communication is bad. It's like, we keep it very, very simple, but extremely effective. And in this video, I'm going to share everything that we do to communicate effectively, both internally as a team, but also externally with clients as well, because both of those are important. You need both internal communication and the external communication for it to work effectively. Now, quick background on me so you can trust the information I'm going to share with you today. As I mentioned, I made $2.8 million with my marketing agency. I run Hayes Media. We help e-commerce brands scale. We do meta ads, we do the creatives, the media buying, and then we also do email and SMS marketing. We've worked with a ton of e-com brands over the years, amazing brands. We have great case studies, testimonials. You can actually come to our website, hayesmedia.co, and see that we are a real company. I've been in this game for 10 years now. I got started running Facebook ads when I was 16 years old in my bedroom, and eventually started an agency and then grew that. So that's what I'm doing. And recently I launched Yander, which is a software that plugs into the existing tools that your team is already using, such as Slack, Gmail, Notion, ClickUp, Monday, etc. It records meetings for you. And what it does is it pulls all the insights from those platforms, and it gives you scores on your team, the risk of them leaving your company, the workload that they're facing, their engagement, their collaboration, their productivity, and a lot more. And it actually tells you the reasoning behind each of the scores and alerts you as to when something is going the wrong way so that you can step in and handle that. It allows you to build a stronger team. Just make sure that your remote team is collaborating. And if you run an agency, highly recommend you checking this out, yander.io. The link is also down below in the video description. Let's get into it. The first thing is project management. This is like one of the big things. There's a bunch of tools out there. Ultimately, they're all the same. The important thing is you just have one. And we use Notion. And the reason why we like Notion is because it's extremely simple. Like, we can build our own boards to our own liking. It can be as simple as complex as we want it to be. And it allows us to have one system for everything. Because Notion is also where we store a lot of knowledge on the clients, the research, their files. We store internal team SOPs. The team tracks their tasks. Like, we take meeting notes. Like, everything is within Notion, and it just keeps everything so streamlined. So as I said, we build custom project management boards, and I'll actually be creating a different video going through one of those boards specifically that we've refined over the years that allows us to produce thousands of ad creatives for our clients. And this thing works seamlessly. It's better than anything else I've used. And we built it ourselves within Notion. So if you want that video, hit the notification bell and subscribe, and you'll be the first to be notified once that drops. So within these custom project management boards, what we do is we track tasks, clients, due dates, assignees, submission status. Clients have access to the board, and they can leave feedback directly in Notion. Now, what I'm saying here is not groundbreaking stuff. I don't want to bore you around like project management tools. But what I'm saying is, like, if you have something that you use for all of your clients, it is easier for your team. If you're working with clients and one client wants you to use Monday and another client wants you to plug into their Asana, like, it becomes chaotic. Like, you want to own the project management process and you want clients to plug into your system. So we give clients access to our boards, and they can leave comments and they can leave feedback and they can see everything that's going on. But the team, like the processes that we have for these boards, the project management system is standardized, which means no matter what client comes on, it's the same process internally, and it just makes things a lot smoother to run. So that's really the point I'm getting across here. Now, let's talk about daily communication. We use Slack. Again, not groundbreaking advice, but there's a reason why I'm saying this. And the reason why is because it isolates work communication from personal communication. And like email, where things get lost in threads, and there's a bunch of other emails in there that are not related to client work, right? Marketing emails, notifications and updates, like things that just muddy the waters. And also, unlike WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, Slack is strictly for business. Like in my Slack, it's only business stuff. I'm not getting distracted by what friends are sending me, whatever's going on in Discord or Telegram, like I don't know. But again, it's not a distraction. So only business, nothing else in Slack, and it keeps you and your team focused. It's not just for me, it's for the team. When they're in Slack, they know it's business. I know some agencies use WhatsApp, and I just don't like that philosophy, because your friends are messaging you and your mum's messaging you and then a client's messaging. It's like weird. Like I'd rather have it separated. So that's really what I'm getting across. And you might already use Slack. So if that's the case, great. Now, when it comes to client meetings or weekly calls, the whole how many meetings should we have and all this stuff, well, I can tell you from experience and seeing a lot of agencies do bi-weekly calls or even one call per month. And some of them maybe do a bi-weekly call, but they send a Loom update every week. Like I've seen other agencies do that. We've tested all these approaches. And what I've found is that weekly calls keep clients in the loop better. Even if that call is very short, 30 minutes, when we're working with clients, us as an agency, we're a very important part to a client's business. If we're running their meta ads, if we're doing their email marketing, and I feel like it's our obligation to make sure the client is always in the loop. It's their business. We're working on their business. We're doing a great job, but they need to understand that that is the case. And then they also need, we also require them to have a pulse on what we're doing. It helps them understand the impact that we're providing. So it helps with retention because we're actually doing good work. And it also allows them to understand what's going on in that part of the business, which I think as a business owner, you really need to be understanding what's going on in all areas. So we've tested it, we looked at the data. The relationships that the best client relationships we've had are the ones that we do weekly calls. So now we do weekly calls for all the clients, right? It makes sense. And you also get FaceTime with the client. Rather than seeing the client once every 2 weeks or once a month, you might think it's more productive, but you just get more FaceTime with the client. You spend more time with the client, you build more trust, and you strengthen the relationship. And stronger relationship equals better client retention. Goes back to that first point that I was talking about. So written reports are sent weekly within the Slack channel. This is on top of the weekly call, and it's to track progress and highlight wins. Again, what we're doing here is we're giving clients multiple ways of ingesting this information. They can get on the calls, but let's just say the call, maybe they can't make the call that week, or there's multiple people on their team, but only the founder joins the calls or the founder doesn't join the calls. How do we make sure that everyone on their team is in the loop on the progress? Because if one person doesn't have context, they might say, well, hang on, what are these guys actually doing? We want to mitigate that. We want to say, look, this is what we're doing. This is the progress. So we send that written update in Slack as well. And it ensures we're doing what we should be to deliver a high standard of work. It keeps our team accountable to make, like, the client's going to see the numbers. So you have to continuously try and make them better and better and better. And that is, it subconsciously tells the client that we're on top of everything when we send these reports, but it also keeps the team accountable to like, hey, the clients are going to see the numbers. You're going to have to send this report. So you better do the work this week, to get a better outcome that you can tell the clients about next week. And it's a good part of motivation to keep that going and to keep the work quality high. So setting expectations, where most agencies miss is setting unclear expectations from the start of the client relationship. And when it comes specifically to communication expectations, these should be set during the onboarding process. And if things change, which they do down the line, or maybe you're watching this video and you're saying, well, yeah, let's try weekly meetings with one client. It's important that you reset the expectations again. You say, this is the change we're making. Here's why we're making it. And you align on the best path forward. You just want to eliminate any confusion and make sure that you're on the same page moving forward. Everything's good. That one conversation or that heads up is going to save you a lot of confusion and a lot of headache later down the road. I know that because I've made that mistake myself. So let's go to internal team communication. We spoke about client-facing communication. Now, how do we do this internally as a team? So it's very similar, and we keep it super simple. Notion keeps the team aligned on tasks and each of the status, who's working on what, what's the progress with everything. We use Slack for day-to-day communication, and the way that we organize those Slack is that we have separate channels per client internally. We have external channels with clients. We also have internal channels with clients. And we also have separate channels for QA. That's like quality checking. And we have separate channels per department as well. So this is more like everyone in the department is in each individual channel. And that's just more for like department-wide updates or anything that needs to be communicated to the whole department at once. That's not related to any specific client. And the updates are visible to everyone on that client. So all of the team members working on that one client, everyone sees the updates that are coming through on that channel, and it gives them more context. And this is really important, especially when you're working remotely and you don't always see what people are working on at every time of the day. You don't know what meetings are taking place, what context people have, and things get missed very, very easily. So we found that this structure Very simple, but it keeps everyone on the same page. Now, when it comes to internal meetings, we spoke about external client-facing meetings. We also have internal meetings. And a lot of companies are like more anti-meeting. Like, I'm of the opinion that if a meeting is productive and it's worth the time, it should take place. If it's happening and people are wasting time, then it shouldn't happen. So what we do is we keep it to a minimum, but it doesn't mean that we just don't have meetings for the sake of it. Like, we have weekly department alignment meetings, right? So everyone in the department aligns at the beginning of the week. Here's what we're working on. Here's the progress steps. Then we have huddles throughout the week for specific clients. These are hosted by the team members themselves. I have weekly one-to-ones with the leaders in my company just to get a pulse and an update on how everything is progressing. And then I have a Friday casual meeting, 30 minutes. It's optional. So every Friday, we have a 30-minute time slot on the calendar. You don't have to join, but a lot of people do join, and we don't talk about work. We talk about life, just catch up as a team. And what we're doing is we're building an environment where people feel valued and heard. And that's what's important. And finally, internally, we use Yander for team engagement. And when you're running a remote team, it's so important that you have a pulse on your team's workload, their engagement and collaboration, to ensure meetings are actually happening, to track the work quality against baseline, to track response times against baseline. And what Yander can do is it surfaces all these insights, and these are areas that I have access to already. It's no creepy surveillance. We're not spying on our team. None of that stuff. What we're doing is we're just plugging into the areas that I can already see as a leader: Slack channels and threads, emails I'm CC'd on, meetings that I'm invited to, areas in the project management system within Notion. And it pulls all these data points and it brings everything together with context over time, and it spits out these scores that update on a daily basis in a dashboard that's easy for us to see. And it also alerts us, hey, this person's workload is increasing. Hey, this person's collaboration dropped. Hey, this person didn't send this meeting when they should have. And what that does is it allows us to catch issues before they become problems, but also to help our team and support our team in the way. And when they know that we have eyes on these things, it makes them feel seen and heard, that we are here to support them, and we will know when things are getting out of hand and step in to solve that and support them so they can continue doing their best work and not be drowning in work or facing like huge workloads or working crazy hours. So if you want to use Yander for your agency, go to yander.io. There's also a link in the video description, and try it out for your agency. See what it surfaces with your team. You might be surprised by what you see. That's it for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.